Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and every last one of you jabronis. It's Mitch here, live for your weekly, most electrifying NFL pick show on YouTube or anywhere on the internet. Welcome to the Bottom Line View. I'm Mitch, and these are my picks for every game during week 9. If that sounds good and you're excited for a little analysis, Gronk, spike the like button, and don't be a jabroni. Subscribe to the channel. Let's have some fun. Let me know in the comments how you're doing, how you're feeling, and of course, who you're picking in week 9. And if you're watching this after the fact, let me know in the comments section below. Before we get started picking every NFL matchup of week 9, just a reminder, 2 things. The first, I have a Patreon. If you guys are curious, Mitch, where do you post your bets? That's on Patreon. Link in the description. Check out my Patreon. It's $5 a month to get all my bets every week of the NFL season. Only $5. And I think we can make more than $5 with my bets. Just saying. Okay? I'm just saying. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. And I also have a second channel. That channel is where we make money. It's called Money Mitch. My betting channel. That link is also in the description. Check that out. Go subscribe. I know you're not subscribed. Go subscribe, jabroni. All right. Let's go. It's time for some picks. Let's kick it off with the first matchup. What's up, Big Al? Mr. Hunter. The depressed Detroit fan. Jacob, Robert, Singh. It's time for Singh's Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens at the Miami Dolphins. Baltimore favored by 7.5 on the road with the return of Lamar Action Jackson. You know what'd be pretty cool? It's almost Halloween. We're a couple days away from Halloween. Lamar Jackson with a little Thriller dance after he scores a touchdown. Just going to throw that out there. But 7.5 is the spread. Pretty healthy Ravens team. And the reason I like the Ravens here, I think they win. I think they cover. This is a Ravens team that's 2-5. And they just saw Joe Flacco's Bengals lay an egg against the New York Jets. Absolutely blow it. They lost to the Jets. The Bengals can pretty much eliminate themselves from the AFC North. They witnessed Aaron Rodgers fall short against the Green Bay Packers. They're 2-5, but they're still alive. And they believe in themselves. This offense is fully healthy. Ronnie Stanley at left tackle. Lamar at quarterback. Derrick Henry in the backfield. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely at tight end. Rashad Bateman with Zay Flowers and D-Hop at wide receiver. And they're taking on a defense that, yeah, sure. They looked good against Bijan last week. Sure. They looked great against Kirk Cousins. But Kirko Chains is officially washed. He's washed. And the Dolphins basically packed the box and said, Kirk, beat us. And Kirk couldn't do it. But you know who can do it? He wears the number 8. And his first name's Lamar. That's right, Lamar Jackson. If you pack the box and you try to take away Derrick Henry, a little play action here, a little play action there, we're going to find some bombs down the field against the Dolphins. Especially with Ashton Davis expected not to play, who's one of their starting safeties. We already know how bad this secondary is. Miami on the other side, it's Tua time and prime time, baby. What do you want to do but fade them? He's going to throw us one. He's going to throw us two. You know Tua, what he's going to do? He can't see. He's admitted it. And you look at Baltimore secondary, Humphrey moves outside, right? At the nickel spot, Kyle Hamilton shifts down from safety. They put Gilman at safety. So you got Gilman, you got Starks up top playing cover 2. They're going to make Miami earn every yard. And eventually Tua's going to mess up. We know he's going to throw it to the other team. And Lamar is going to take advantage. The Ravens will score 30 against this putrid Miami defense. And Tua turned the ball over, simply won't be able to keep up. Give me the Ravens to win. The Ravens to cover. This is the Ravens statement game on prime time in Miami. Ravens win. Ravens cover. Don't forget to Gronk spike the like button, guys. We're going on to Sunday football. The Minnesota Vikings at the Detroit Lions. Detroit favored by 8.5 at home. This is a big game for the Minnesota Vikings. They're sitting at 3-4. If the Vikings lose this game, you might as well count them out for the playoffs. Meanwhile, Detroit is 5-2, but they're trying to keep up to Green Bay in the division and trying to win that division. It would be the first time in a couple seasons that Detroit hasn't won that division. Detroit, last time we saw them, was pretty beat up in the secondary, but they will have reinforcements. Terrion Arnold was a full participant today at practice, one of their starting corners. Brian Branch is back at safety. And even Avonte Maddox did practice. Kirby Joseph also could go as well. It's not certain, but he could go in that game. For the Vikings, they might be getting reinforcements as well. Van Ginkel, one of their most important defensive players, was a full participant on Wednesday. Okay? Jeff Okudah, who it's probably better off that he's not practicing, is not practicing to play his former team. He stinks anyways. Now, you're wondering, who's playing quarterback, Mitch? Carson Wentz broke in half. J.J. McCarthy will be the quarterback for the Vikings. I personally don't see how the Vikings win this game. I can't foresee how they win this game. Unless Jared Goff poops himself and the Lions turn it over multiple times, I really don't see it. Right, the Vikings' run defense isn't as good as years past, and the Lions can still run the ball, especially with Jahmyr Gibbs dressing up as Jeff Hardy for Halloween. It's going to be going like this in the end zone, bro. And then you've got a putrid Vikings secondary against Amon-Ra, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta. Who's covering these guys? Not any of the Vikings jabronis. Brian Flores can blitz, sure, but we know Jared Goff has a good understanding of those blitzes. He gets it out hot, he gets it out quick, and he keeps his offense on schedule. And this is an offensive line that can take care of the Vikings pass rush, with Taylor Decker likely to play at left tackle. So I think the Lions will move the ball. I think they will score. I think the Vikings defense has been a bit overrated this year, and against good quality offensive lines and offenses, they have struggled. Defensively, the Lions are, I think, underrated defensively and maybe even a little overrated offensively if you look at some metrics. Because if you look at the Lions, like, they've struggled against some of the better defenses they've played. Green Bay, Kansas City, Tampa Bay. So maybe, just maybe, Minnesota can make some plays. But Detroit's defense, I think, is kind of underrated, especially what we saw against Tampa Bay. Aleem McNeil is part of the reason I think they're underrated, because I think that makes their defensive line a really good unit alongside Aiden Hutchinson. I think Muhammad's played well this year. We know their linebackers are very good. Their reinforcements at safety, and they're going to play that stifling, sticky man coverage on the outside. Sure, Justin Jefferson will make some plays, but we've seen Detroit be absolutely plastering against the Vikings in the past. And JJ McCarthy is a young guy who is on the road, who, do the coaches even believe in him? I don't know. Was it a soft benching? I can't confirm. Maybe. The run game is inconsistent. The O-line and protection is inconsistent. He doesn't seem to have rapport with anybody but maybe Jefferson. I just don't see how the Vikings keep up on the scoreboard. I think that there will be enough pressure on JJ to make him kind of hesitant. And I don't foresee the Vikings running the ball super effectively on the Lions. And we know that the Lions are a bit of a juggernaut at home. If they get a lead, they start to run that thing up. So I just don't think the Vikings are all that good. I think the line reflects that. I think the Lions should win this game by 2 scores. Now, maybe JJ McCarthy gives the team a spark. Maybe he is better than Carson Wentz. But I haven't really seen enough quality out of him or the offense or the team this year. I don't know what the Vikings' identity is. What do they do well? Right? This isn't the team from last year, which I think people are still banking on. The Lions may not have the offense they had last year, but I think their defense is darn good and they're at home. I think the Lions win this game. I think the Lions win this game 27-17, somewhere in that range. I think they take care of business. I think they cover. So I'm going to take Detroit here. Next, the Carolina Panthers keep pounding at the Green Bay Packers. And as Briz says in the chat, come on, guys, 28 people in the chat. Gronk spiked the like button. Now we got 31. Gronk spiked the like button. K. What are you doing, K? Talking about the Chargers? Gronk spiked the like button. I know Marcus hasn't. Robert probably has. He's a good guy. I'm not sure about Andrew. All right. 13.5. We got the Packers at home. This seems like a lot of points. Am I the only one that thinks this is a lot of points? 13.5? That's a lot. Bryce Young should be back for this game. The Panthers do have questions on the offensive line, which is the biggest reason I'm uncertain about this spread. Brady Christensen did not practice. Damian Lewis was a full participant. That's good. Taylor Moton did not participate. So some offensive line injuries for the Panthers to pay attention to. On the road against the Packers, you probably don't want to bet on Carolina with a bad offensive line. Probably not a good idea. Devontae Wyatt makes the Packers pass rush that much better. The games that he hasn't played, I feel like their defense has been much worse. I think he makes them better against the run and the pass, really. And then at wide receiver, Christian Watson makes the offense that much better because his speed threatens the defense vertically and opens everybody else up. And then he also makes a couple plays a game that make you say, wow. And it really gives Jordan Love a little bit more confidence to rip the ball downfield. The Panthers, shockingly, just didn't show up against the Bills. And for the first time all year, they look susceptible to the run. The Bills ran all over them. And Josh Allen barely participated, and they still lost by 40. Now, that being said, Bryce Young didn't play. And the question about the Panthers and the Bills going into that game was is Andy Dalton washed or not? And I think we kind of got our answer. He is washed. So Bryce Young is certainly an upgrade. I think the Panthers should be able to run the ball here, but they've got to stay in the game long enough to be able to do that, or be able to run it well enough to open everything else up and stay in the game. The Packers actually haven't been a great running team this year, by my eyes. At least Josh Jacobs hasn't been as good as last year. They're more of a pass-first team this year. I think that's more their strength, and I think that's good against Carolina, because Carolina has been better against the run than the pass. I do think that Kraft is going to be a huge problem for the Panthers, because the Panthers are the worst team against tight ends this season. And I could see Christian Watson having a pretty good game again here, because the Panthers, their corners are physical, but not fast. So maybe Romeo Doubs struggles, but I think Watson will have a good game. Packers offensive line, I think, has been getting better throughout the season. As long as Zach Tom goes, I have confidence in the offense. Jordan Love played well, but I just think 13.5 is too many points. I mean, 13.5, 4-4 football team fighting for their playoff survival here. That being said, the Panthers have kind of lost to every good team they've played. Like, they've gotten destroyed by a couple of them. But those were AFC East teams, the Bills and the Patriots. They lost by darn near 35 points in both games, 40 points in both games. It was pretty bad. But they also have been able to destroy the Falcons, beat the Cowboys. This is another tough test. It's on the road. The Panthers haven't played as well on the road. But again, 13.5 is too many points. I don't think the Packers will be like putting forth their best effort here. I think they'll be kind of up in the game and gliding to their win because I don't think they really need to push the foot on the gas here. I think there was kind of a point to prove in Pittsburgh on Sunday night against Aaron Rodgers. Matt LaFleur wanted to win that game. Jordan Love wanted to win that game. The Packers had a point to prove. But at the same time, I think the Panthers defense is better than the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And yeah, sure, the Steelers have a better offense, but like, I just don't think the difference between like the Steelers and the Panthers is that big. You know what I mean? Packers are a different animal at home. But again, like just 13.5 is too many. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I think the way that I'm wrong is if the Packers pass rush just demolishes the offensive line of Carolina. I'm going to count on that not happening. And I'm going to count on this Packers team that's kind of been floating along to wins to show up once again. And they'll win, but I don't think it will be like super duper blowout city. So I'll take the Panthers to cover 13.5. I'll take the Packers to win the game. Packers should be able to throw the ball here and get enough stops to win. Okay, next up, we have the Bears at the Cincinnati Bengals. I wanted to take the Bengals here, but I don't think Joe Flacco is going to be playing in this game. Bengals are 3-5, Bears are 4-3. Joe Flacco did not participate today, and it looks like he probably won't participate in practice all week, which means that the great Jake Browning might be suiting up for Cincinnati. If that's the case, I got to go with the Bears. I have to. Jake Browning's been the worst quarterback I've seen this season. Trey Hendrickson also did not participate on Wednesday. So without their best defensive player and their quarterback, they're pretty much a non-bet or non-bettable. Logan Wilson might get traded soon. Watch out for that. He didn't participate in practice. On the other side, though, Chicago has some sneaky injuries. Tyreek Stevenson did participate, limited. DeAndre Swift didn't participate. Zacchaeus didn't pop goes the weasel, did not participate. Rome Odunze did not participate. DJ Moore did not participate. Roshan Johnson did not participate. Luther Burden did not participate. I don't know if this is like they're trying to rest their offensive playmakers or if like they're all hurt, but that's interesting. All of them are hurt. It's Wednesday, so it's tough to call this game with Joe Flacco's status. I'll say if Joe Flacco plays and he gets a practice in, I'll take the Bengals because I think they can move the ball on this defense. Chicago has no pass rush. Cincinnati's offensive line has actually been pretty good. Lately, at least. Marius Mims is kind of breaking out at right tackle. Chase Brown's been able to run the football. You can run the football on Chicago, and I don't see any of them covering Jamar Chase, which is the main ingredient in taking the Bengals to win a game. On the other side, the Bengals have no defense, but Caleb Williams is super overrated. He's not very good. And I don't know, the Bengals will win a shootout at home because they're probably slightly more desperate, especially if Chicago's all their playmakers are injured or banged up. But if Joe Flacco doesn't play, there's no way I can take the Bengals. I have to take Chicago because Jake Browning stinks. He just chucks the ball up and prays. So that's the answer. That's the answer. Unfortunately, Chicago. Unfortunately. But there's not a lot to really analyze here. Right? Like, Cincinnati's defense is tragic. It's a disaster. It's a humiliation to the NFL and sports in general. How do you give up 39 points to flippin' Fields? How? How do you let Aaron Glenn win a game? Damn it. All right, next. We have the Atlanta Falcons at the New England Patriots. If you guys haven't already, spike the like button. Good time to say it as we are talking about the Patriots. And guys, if you haven't figured it out yet, the cheat code of the NFL season is just bet on Drake May every single time. You will get away with it. The Patriots are 6-2. The Falcons are 3-4. Despite that, the Patriots are less than a touchdown favorites at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix probably will play this game. Kirko Chains, retire, please. In terms of the injuries, Drake London should be back for the Falcons, and they should have reinforcements to their defense. Billy Bowman Jr. might be back, as well as Jalen Walker might be back. But a couple names to pay attention to. Leonard Floyd did not participate. Him and Jalen Walker would basically swap places on the IR or the injury report and in the lineup. Zach Harrison is a big name for the Falcons, a very underrated player, but he's been very good for the Falcons defense. He did not participate, so watch out for him as well. Kyle Pitts should be fine. He's limited. Jesse Bates is limited, so he should be playing. For the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson did not participate in practice today. That's really the only injury the Patriots have. Interesting, I haven't really seen anything or saw anything in the game that would make me think that Stevenson wouldn't play, but I don't know. Maybe they're resting him. I don't really know, but pay attention to that. I don't know if it really matters. It might just give Travion Henderson more touches and a chance to prove himself. Because Stevenson, I mean, he's fine, but he hasn't really been a difference maker. If anything, he's been a difference maker in a negative way this year, so I don't know if that really matters. But everybody else for the Patriots is pretty much good to go. Morgan Moses is just resting. He's like 1,000 years old. So I look at this game and I say I think the Patriots have the main ingredients to slow down the Falcons' offense. The Falcons do have a couple injuries to their tackle position. I do think Jake Matthews is fine. I might have to check that. I haven't checked that in a minute. But of course, you know, they lost McGarry for the season, and that is a position that you can kind of pick on. Center is a position you can kind of pick on for them. And then left tackle, Jake Matthews, I think he is okay. But he did miss like a game or something like that. So he's kind of been beat up. But I look at Bijan Robinson, and Bijan Robinson is the formula for the Falcons. If he can run the ball and the Falcons can run the ball, it allows the Falcons a chance to win and control the game. If he can't run the ball, then basically you're asking Michael Penix to beat you, which is where you want to be because he is below average and limited, in my opinion. He doesn't really move that well. He only really throws to the perimeter, and he doesn't pick on the middle of the field. So when breaking down the Patriots defense, they have yet to allow a 50-yard rusher. Check. Drake London is back, but we have Christian Gonzalez. Check. Darnell Mooney's fast, but so is Marcus Jones. Check. Our linebackers aren't very good in coverage, and our safeties are kind of suspect, but Michael Penix doesn't throw in the middle of the field. Check. So I think our defense will be fine in this game. This could be a statement game for our defense. I thought the Bills game kind of was, and we have been beating up on bad teams from that side of the ball, but like we need to kind of prove it against somebody a bit more average to above average other than just the Bills. Like I feel like we haven't really played many good offenses, but we have been beating down the bad ones, so that's good at least. In terms of the other side of the ball, I don't really need to analyze it other than just saying Drake May. Like, do I need to say anything else? It's Drake May. I don't know. Like, what do I even have to say? The Falcons are susceptible to the ground attack. Patriots have been running the ball better, including the last two games. Against Cleveland, I thought they showed a little bit of life in that regard, and that's a tough run defense. And I think Josh has just been growing this run game, and Henderson might see more opportunities, which he looked pretty good last week. And then we just have a bunch of guys that are playing well at receiver. Like, Booty's playing well, Diggs is playing well, Mac Hollins is playing well, Hunter Henry's playing well. And I just think Drake May is just that good. So, like, it really doesn't matter. If the Falcons can't really get pressure with 4, that's only going to entice Drake May against the blitz to beat you down the field, which he's been just insanely good at. So I think that the Patriots will be able to move the ball and score enough points to win this game. I think they should win by around 10. So I think they should cover this game. The reason we don't cover this game is if Kyle Pitts and Drake London go crazy and Michael Penix has like the best game of his season, and for some reason we're not able to block the Falcons' blitzes. Those could be reasons we maybe make this closer than it's needed, but I think the Patriots are the real deal. I think the Falcons are a fraud. So I'll take New England to win. I'll take New England to cover and win by at least a touchdown. As Spaz says, who are the Falcons at this point? That's a fair question. The Chargers. Chargers at the Tennessee Titans in what to me is maybe the most confusing line of the week. The Titans are 1-7. And guys, just to remind you, as I have many times, the only time the Titans won a game is when the Cardinals literally let them win a game by fumbling the ball in their end zone for a touchback and fumbling the ball into their own end zone for a touchdown. If that doesn't happen, the Titans are 0-8, and they're being discussed as one of the worst teams we've ever seen, because quite frankly, they are one of the worst teams that we've ever seen. Meanwhile, the Chargers just beat the absolute piss out of the Minnesota Vikings. And Justin Herbert is having the romantic weekend of his life with Madison just going to the Dodger game, the Lakers game, the Halloween party with Keenan Allen and Ladd and Dicker. Bro, the only reason I'm concerned about the Chargers not covering this game is that Justin Herbert's wearing a backwards hat, and Justin Herbert might not be totally focused on his football right now, bro. Think with your other head, Herbert. Think with the right head, bro. Come on, man. I need you here. I know it's Titans week, and I know they're absolutely terrible, but what if I bet on you -9.5? I need you to cover this game, bro. Now, when we look at the Tennessee Titans, okay, this is a team that has lost and got punished by the Patriots, lost and got punished by the Colts. Against good AFC foes, they have been obliterated. Will this be another one where they're obliterated? Now, there are some questions about the health of the Chargers secondary. Still has been placed on IR, one of their corners, underrated nickel corner in the NFL. Derwin James is limited, left last game. Tony Jefferson did not practice. That is pretty big. He is their third safety, their box safety. But Derwin James, as long as he plays, and Elijah Molden, I think we're all right. Mekhi Becton did not participate, but who cares? I mean, the guy he's out in the first quarter of every damn game. As long as Joe Alt plays, I feel pretty good about the Chargers offense against a defense in Tennessee that Arden Key might get traded, did not participate. Jeffrey Simmons doesn't even want to play anymore, did not participate. Xavier Woods did not participate. Calvin Ridley on offense still hasn't participated. And Dan Moore, their left tackle, did not participate. So we're talking about their two best front seven players, Arden Key and Jeffrey Simmons, not practicing. We're talking about their best receiver, Calvin Ridley, their left tackle, all not practicing, and Xavier Woods at safety, who's a starter. Those are significant injuries for a team that is already terrible. It's a Mike McCoy revenge spot, but I'm not buying the revenge. Chargers have had 10 days to rest, 10 days to prepare, 10 days to have Halloween parties, and 10 days for Justin Herbert to get out all of his lover boy material. So I think the Chargers win. I think the Chargers cover. 9.5 is not enough. This feels too low. I will take the Chargers to win, the Chargers to cover. Give me Chargers. Next, the Atlanta Falcons at the New England Patriots. I've already talked about, Mitch. I don't want to talk about it again. Next, the Denver Broncos at the Houston Texans. Texans are favored by 1.5. You guys thought I was going to talk about the Patriots again, didn't you? Okay. Where's the injury report? Because I think it could be important. Now, Pat Surtain is the big name. He is out of this game. Nico Collins, a big name for the Texans, is going to be in for this game, back from a concussion. Kirk as well, Christian Kirk, not Kirk Cousins, is probably going to play, but Do they even want to play him above Braxton Berrios? I mean, that guy was balling last week. I don't know. It's just me. Danico Autry did not participate. He's been in and out of the lineup all year. Dalton Schultz is a sneaky one. Did not participate on Wednesday. That's something to pay attention to. He's pretty important for them. Denver, Dre Greenlaw, full participant back from suspension, I believe. Marvin Mims also did not participate. He's a returner and a receiver for them. I like the Texans here because they're at home. These two teams are very similar. And I like the way the Texans played last week offensively. I like their short passing game. I like their balance. I felt like CJ looked confident and comfortable for the first time in a while. I like the fact that Nico Collins doesn't have to be covered by Pat Surtain, but potentially Riley pass interference Moss. That's, not his, that's not a fake name, guys. That's a real name. That's his middle name. Pass interference. That's his name. You think I'm lying? Look it up. Riley pass interference Moss. Sometimes they call him PI for short. Nico Collins is going to go crazy. I love what I'm seeing from Woody Marks. The Texans have the best defense in football. Everybody talks about Denver. Denver's defense. No. The Texans have the best defense in football, not the Broncos. And they will show that in this game. I love their pass rush at home. I love their corners. I think they'll be able to match up here. And I don't think Denver's a great running team. Bo Nix, I think CJ's probably better than Bo Nix. Neither guy is really trustworthy to me, but I'd rather CJ Stroud. I think the Broncos do have the better O-line. That's something going for them here. But I like the home team, and I like it mostly because Pat Surtain not playing shifts the way the Broncos have to play defense, and I think it will make the Texans' offense more effective. So in a low-scoring game, I'll take the home team to win. Next. Keep going backwards. Jacksonville at Las Vegas. Jacksonville is -3. Don't overthink this. The Raiders stink. They're terrible. They're putrid. They're no good. They're not worth your money. They're not worth your time. They're not worth an eyeball on the screen while they play. Not even one eyeball. Never mind two. Give me the Jags to win this game and cover. I'm not going to complicate this, all right? Who do I trust coming out of the bye? Liam Cohen to fix his offense or Chip Kelly? I'll trust Liam Cohen. Which defense do I trust in this game? Jacksonville. Which team have I seen more from? Jacksonville. What makes me believe even at home the Raiders can win this game? Other than fixing themselves off the bye week and voodoo magic and Pete Carroll chewing his juicy fruit, I don't see how this is going to work, bro. Like, Pete Carroll's running defense from 10 years ago with players that were good 10 years ago. The secondary is shit. Travis Hunter is going to be more involved on offense. Brian Thomas is pissed off. And he wants to be a Patriot, so he's going to look good in this game. And then we've got a whole, bye week for Trevor Lawrence to condition his hair and for Liam Cohen to look at the tape and see what he's actually done well this year. So he'll just call more of those plays. So I think that Jacksonville will be able to move the ball against a weak secondary. I like Jacksonville's pass rush against arguably the worst offensive line in football right now. I don't think that the Raiders will be able to run the ball. Yeah, Brock Bowers is back. That might help, but Jacoby Myers is trying to get traded. I don't see how the Raiders are within. I don't understand. Jacksonville is on the road here, but they've beaten the Chiefs. They beat the Niners. They beat the Texans. They've beaten some pretty good teams. The Raiders stink. They're bad. So, even with Brock Bowers, I don't think they have enough firepower. Give me the Jags. Don't overcomplicate it. The New Orleans Saints at the Los Angeles Rams. It's Rams' house. Back from the bye, the Saints have swapped quarterbacks from Spencer to Shuck. I think that might be an upgrade. I was a pretty I don't know if I'll say fan, but I like Tyler Shuck coming out of the draft, and I thought he looked pretty good in the game against the Bucs when he got in there. I think he is physically more talented than Spencer Rattler. I kind of like the 14 points here with the Saints. I think they can keep this one competitive. Puka Nacua was limited. He could be back for this game. You would expect him to be back, but is he 100%? I'm not sure if he's 100%. This is also a dome, so the Saints shouldn't be too out of sorts for this game. They are a dome team. I actually really liked how the Saints played defense last week. I thought that they stopped the run against the Bucs pretty well. I think they can do that against the Rams. I think their defensive line has played pretty well as well. I like the Rams, don't get me wrong. They should win this game, but they haven't been a team that's really been winning by margin outside of the London game. I don't really trust them as a massive favorite. They're not one of those teams that I look at and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to lay 10 points, 14 points with the Rams. Sure, Stafford is trying to secure an MVP case right now. Devontae Adams is cooking, and Puka Nacua could be back. But I think those receivers on the Saints will have something to say about that, especially with the trade deadline looming. I think Tyler Shuck is a tad underrated here. The pressure of the Rams defense could be too much to overcome if you're the Saints, but 14 is a lot of points in the NFL. And I think the Saints have been pretty competitive overall in most of their games. So I'll take the 14. I think that Tampa Bay score was a bit deceptive last week. So I'll take the Saints plus 14, but I'll take the Rams to win. Stafford's too good to lose this game, but I do think that the Rams just need to prove to me that they can beat the crap out of a team like the Saints. I haven't seen it consistently enough. Next, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. This is the game of the week, maybe the game of the year. And this is a game that I'm not so sure I want to bet, okay? The Chiefs are favored by 2 in Buffalo. This feels like everyone is going to be on the Chiefs because they've been playing better, looking better. They are humming. Their offense looks the best it's looked in a couple years. And I think everyone is going to pick the Chiefs. And that almost has me thinking, like, is that where the Bills surprise us and they win this game? Because Buffalo has won 4 in a row in the regular season. They have lost in the postseason, but in the regular season, they found a way to win 4 straight times. Now, typically, the Bills are the team that look better entering these games most of the time, right? That's kind of usually how it is, not the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs are usually the team is kind of struggling. Now, that being said, the Bills actually have the better record. They're 5-2. The Chiefs are 5-3. In terms of injuries, a big injury for this game to me is the left tackle Josh Simmons of the Chiefs. When I watch Jalen Moore, the left tackle of the Chiefs on Monday night, get whooped by Nick Martin twice for sacks, not a good sign against Joey Bosa right now, who's playing really well, and then Gregory Rousseau. I think if the Bills win this game, it's because of those 2 guys. I think if the Bills win this game, it's because they can get pressure with 4 guys, and their edge rushers beat up on Jalen Moore and Jawan Taylor. That's how the Bills can win this game. Now, the Bills' defense has not been great this year. They looked good against Carolina, but that was Andy Dalton. A big reason they haven't been good is they can't stop the run. But the Chiefs don't run the ball. At least they don't run it well. Also, Isaiah Pacheco is injured. So I wonder if he'll be okay. Kareem Hunt is still there. Brashard Smith is still there. But Pacheco is probably not going to play from my understanding. Marquise Brown was also not practicing today. That's something to pay attention to. In terms of the depth of the receiving core, he's their 3. Tyquan Thornton and Juju can replace him just fine, but that is small injury to pay attention to. Otherwise, the defense for the Chiefs is pretty much, good to go. They are also bringing in Mike Pennell back from the Bengals, back to the Chiefs. Should help them in the run game at defensive tackle. For the Bills, though, they lost Ed Oliver last week. one of their best defensive players. That's pretty massive. They did get back Maxwell Hairston at corner, who looked pretty good in my opinion. The 4.2 speed first-round cornerback should be able to match up with Worthy. That's probably why they drafted the guy, to be honest. Daquan Jones did not participate in practice as well, so that could be the top 2 defensive tackles for the Bills that are out. Now, one of their rookies is playing extremely well, especially in run defense. Josh Palmer also did not participate in practice as well at wide receiver. They kind of need him, man. They kind of need him because their receiving core just overall is not separating very well, and Palmer might be the best hope they have other than Shakir to make plays against this secondary. But when you look at this matchup, it's, I think, a lot more even than people would believe. But just because I think the Bills have the run game advantage. I think that the Bills have that Josh Allen run element against the Chiefs, kind of like the Commanders last week, who were kind of moving their way down the field, kind of messed it up. I think the Bills are probably a little bit better in that regard. Could Dalton Kincaid have a big game here? I think that's possible. At tight end, James Cook's been playing really well. The Bills do have the better offensive line. The Chiefs' offensive line is a bit injured. But the Chiefs have that, I think, perimeter advantage. The Chiefs have the corner advantage, the coverage advantage. They also have the receiver advantage. So it's kind of like what will win out, right? The ability for the Chiefs to be able to throw the ball on the Bills, because I don't think they'll be able to run the ball that well. They just can't run the ball on anyone. Or will the Bills be able to run the ball on the Chiefs with Josh Allen's element there, with the, screen game, with that sort of stuff, like Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid and those matchups. So I think it's a really close game. I think it probably comes down to the last possession. I think the Chiefs have been playing better lately. I think the Chiefs look like the better team. I trust their defense more. I think I trust their passing game more. I think they're a more explosive offense right now. So I'll take the Chiefs to win and cover, but I don't think I want to bet it. I just feel like, one, the history would suggest the Bills will win this game. And two, I think this is like a matchup for the Bills that isn't so bad, on paper, at least. If the Bills can kind of control the clock, run the ball, and keep Mahomes on the sidelines, and then get their pass rush working with 4-man rush and play a lot of zone, I feel like that's kind of the way they want to play against everybody. So I kind of could see this game going either way. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs just because I feel like they're playing better, but I'm not super confident in it. So that's what I have for this pick. Next, the San Francisco 49ers at the New York Giants. San Francisco -2.5. I mean, again, another week, another unpickable game when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers. 5-3 49ers, 2-6 Giants. I'm going to pick the Niners. They're coming off a loss, and it's Kyle Shanahan against Brian Daboll. But am I confident? No. The Niners have just so many injuries, especially on defense. Their defensive line is depleted. No Bryce Huff. No Nick Bosa. Alfred Collins did not participate in practice. Yetur Gross-Matos has been out. Now, that being said, they did trade for Keon White. They did sign Clelin Ferrell. Can those guys help? Maybe. Their secondary is healthy, which is a good thing. But, I mean, like, so many injuries, man. Like, D. Winters is banged up. Sam Ekwonu is beat up. Offensively, maybe they get their left guard back, Ben Barch. That could help. I don't think Brock Purdy is going to play. He's limited. Maybe, but I don't think so. Ricky Pearsall hasn't practiced. Don't think he's going to play. So it's the same offense for the Niners. But some of the things that help the Niners, right? I think you can run the ball against the Giants. That helps take pressure off Mac Jones. When Kyle Shanahan's able to run the ball, his offense is basically unstoppable. If he can run the ball, he's going to set up his screen game, his play action game. That's where the offense becomes deadly, and that's where they can kind of control the game offensively and help their bad/injured defense. Jackson Dart, no Cam Skattebo, who is that heart and soul of the offense, kind of the engine and the heart of the team. That's a big loss for them. They also could be without their top 2 cornerbacks. Flott is injured, as well as Adebo. Those are big injuries. Their right tackle, Jermaine Illuminor, is also not participating in practice. Some things to pay attention to. If both corners don't play for the Giants, that's going to help Mac Jones throw the ball against this Giants depleted secondary. So I think there's enough injuries on both sides to offset the Niners' depletion. So I'll take San Francisco as the better team, the short favorite on the road to bounce back. But I would stay away from this game. There's just too many injuries on both sides, and especially too many injuries for the Niners to really count on them to be any sort of quality consistently. So I'll take San Francisco because of Kyle, but I'm not convinced. Next, the Indianapolis Colts at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Colts are favored by 3. I don't understand this line. It doesn't really make sense to me. The Colts are clearly a tier above the Steelers. Colts are 7-1. Steelers are 4-3. Steelers are a sharp darling, or at least fake sharp darling, when they're at home and a dog, because Mike Tomlin, as a dog, historically has been profitable, and I still feel like people that bet the NFL believe in Mike Tomlin. I am not one of those people. I think Mike Tomlin should be fired. I think Mike Tomlin is the most overrated coach in the NFL. He's a defensive coach who has a bad defense. He's the most conservative coach in football by far on 4th down, and he has a bad defense. And he chooses to play field position. That's not going to work against the Colts. The Colts' offense is number 1 since 2000 in points per drive. And they're taking on a putrid Steeler defense that, if they don't get home with their pass rush, they're ineffective. The Colts have a good offensive line. You can run the ball on the Steelers. I expect a great game from Jonathan Taylor again. I think Shane Steichen completely outcoaches the defensive staff of the Steelers, who play way too much man coverage with a bunch of old men who deserve to be in a retirement home. They can't run with this receiving core. The Steelers are terrible against tight ends. I think Ty Warren goes crazy. And I just don't think that Daniel Jones is really threatened here. So I think the Colts can score 30 again. My only real fear here is voodoo magic, turnovers, and kicking. The Steelers have a kicking advantage. The Colts have a bad kicker. Could turnovers come in Pittsburgh? Yes. But I don't know if I can bank on that. On the other side of things, I think the Colts are solid against the run. I think they can slow down the run game and make Aaron Rodgers in this pass game beat them. There are concerns about the Colts in the secondary. Nick Cross is not participating. We'll see if he plays. Samson Ebukam up front, along with Tyquan Lewis, 2 rotational rushers, did not participate, as well as Kenny Moore did not participate. Those are big, big, big injuries. Also, Grover Stewart did not participate. I think he'll be okay, but I could be wrong there. The Colts, this is something to pay attention to. Their injuries on defense. That could be why the line is only 3. Also, Josh Downs, but I don't think that's a huge deal with Josh Downs, personally. Jalen Jones, though, was a full participant. That's good news for the Colts secondary. I think Grover Stewart might just be resting. I think the real injuries are Tyquan Lewis and Samson Ebukam and maybe Kenny Moore. I'm going to look up Kenny Moore just to make sure. So I think Kenny Moore is hurt. He's been in and out of the lineup, so yeah, if you're going to bet the Colts, I would probably wait until Sunday or Saturday night to or at least the Friday practice report to get a better idea of their defense. because the Steelers right now need to score to win games. They can't win through their defense. And the only way they win this game is probably by a shootout. And are they going to outscore the Colts? I don't think so. So regardless of injuries, I'll still take Indy. I think that there's also familiarity here with Lou Anarumo against Mike Tomlin, being that he was in Cincinnati. And Arthur Smith, of course. I'm a little concerned about those Colts injuries on defense, but I just think they're a better team, a better offense, and I'll take the Colts. But I wouldn't be like super antsy right now to lay the points until I have a better understanding of the defensive injury report. Next, the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday night at the Washington Commanders. Commanders will be without Terry McLaurin again. Their defensive line also low-key is kind of depleted as well, which is a big deal, of course. And for Seattle, I think Julian Love is still out. They've been playing without him, though, for a while. Let me see. Hasn't practiced. Other than that, they're pretty healthy. Witherspoon is back. That's good. DeMarcus Lawrence should probably play. That's good. When looking at the Commanders, it's going to be Jaden Daniels, not Marcus Mariota. He was a full participant. Zach Ertz didn't participate. I wonder if that's an injury or just rest. Von Miller didn't participate. He didn't play on Monday night. I don't think, at least. I didn't notice him. Laramie Tunzel also didn't participate. That's pretty big. Their left tackle, Jazier Newton, also did not participate. So some pretty big injuries on the defensive front. Newton's a D tackle. Tunzel's a left tackle on the offense. Von Miller, defensive end. Kinlaw's fine. But yeah, I look at the Seahawks. I think they're a better team here. If Washington had Terry McLaurin, I would have been a little antsy. I would have been a little uncertain because I think this is a prime time underdog win spot for Washington, just in terms of the spot. But Seattle, they had a bye, right? So they've had extra time, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Jaden is coming back a bit beat up. He doesn't have his number one receiver. Seattle has a dominant defensive front. Seattle has JSN against man coverage. No corner to cover him. I think you can run the ball on Washington. They don't have a great pass rush, so I'm not too concerned about playing on the road. Seattle's actually been better on the road than at home. So I think Seattle's clearly the better team. I think they actually have had the better quarterback this year, believe it or not. And they have the better defense by a significant margin. I think Seattle wins. I think Seattle covers. If there were a little bit more brightness at the end of the tunnel in terms of these injuries for Washington, I might go with Washington. But I just think there's too many injuries against a good football team here. Especially Terry McLaurin. I think that's going to be hard to overcome. Debo is not a number one receiver in the NFL. He can't separate. Monday Night Football. Arizona Cardinals at the Dallas Cowboys. This is now 2.5. It was 3 earlier in the week. Arizona's 2-5. Cowboys are 3-4-1. Don't forget to like the video, guys. If you haven't already, this is the last game of the breakdown. We have 52 people live. Gronk spiked the like button. It helps other NFL fans find this video. I kind of like the Cardinals here. Now, we don't have any injury information, but the Cowboys, if you guys recall or watching the Denver game, they were losing corners and safeties and secondary players left and right and center. I don't know if reinforcements are coming. It's hard to know on Wednesday. But Arizona had a bye week. Arizona is rested. Kyler could be back, but honestly, does it really matter? I don't think so. You can run the ball on Dallas, so that keeps Arizona's balance in play. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will be smiling all night against this secondary. And Trey McBride, I don't see how the Cowboys cover him with their current state of their safeties and linebackers. So I think the Cardinals should be able to score. Dallas has the worst defense I've ever seen. And on the other side, I respect the Cardinals defense. I don't think the Cardinals defense is bad at all. I think that they're due to win a game. I think they're due for a little bit of an upset. They've been losing to better teams consistently by one score. Teams like the Niners, teams like the Seahawks, teams like the Packers, teams like the Colts. They've been facing the best of the best in the NFL and hanging in there and barely losing these games by 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Dallas is a one-dimensional football team that, yes, has a good offense, but I trust Jonathan Gannon to cook up something for the Cowboys offensively. I think the Cardinals can hang and slow down Javonte Williams, and I think that the Cardinals can move the ball and score, and I think the Cardinals can win this game. They've beaten the Cowboys a couple times in recent past. I think this is an upset. I think the Cardinals win on Monday Night Football in Dallas and disappoint all of the Dallas fans. I'm sorry, guys. Your defense is just too bad to trust. There it is, guys. My picks for week number 9. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spike the like button. Don't be a jabroni. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video. A lot more videos coming. Don't you worry. We got some mid-season stuff cooking up between this week and next week in terms of tier rankings, some trade deadline talk coming up. We've got my contender video still to come where I'll rank my top 10 contenders. So all that stuff is coming. Don't you worry. Don't forget, check out my Patreon for all my bets. Link in the description. And don't forget to check out Money Mitch. That's a free YouTube channel, my second channel for all of my bets over there. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Peace.